Okay, here goes. What a mess. What a freaking mess. I promise we will get into more detail on players and stuff like that. But right now, it's still an overview of what's going on in Major League Baseball, and we will look. We'll take it from there. I find it, I find it really fascinating to hear what's going on with the the stealing thing and stealing signs from the Boston point of view, from the Astros, from other players who were affected by it. And then we got the Donaldson deal. That's going to really make things a little interesting. May put Arenado. I mean, the Braves, the Nationals, and the Cardinals are three teams that we thought would be in there, and we didn't think that Minnesota was going to be in there. They've been just lurking around, and as it turns out, the Minnesota Twins, thank you, Andy, for letting me know that. Andy's feeling better today. She's been a little under the weather. And the Ides of January, you're absolutely right. So let's get right to it. And I want to read to you, and I'm going to read it. A major league player, Tim Flower. Tim, has anybody read the Michael Etch in the Kitchen Table? Kevin Hastings is here on Oli Toledo, and we got Arnie coming on right after this, I believe. And Kevin, I'm pretty sure Kevin too. So if not, then get on there. Here's the thing. Tim Flannery, remember him? Former, obscure baseball player. Obscure, but still, he put his time in, played the game, knows the game. This is what he says. Has anybody read this? I want to know if anybody has seen this before. He says they are finding teams who try to steal signs, and he says he just got out just in time. He feels a need to speak out. Normal is changing, and today's norm is not the norm. Tim Flaherty says for 26 years he was in the big leagues, 10 as a player, 16 as a third base coach, and a couple other things, minor leagues. But here's the thing. He has 25 World Series games under his belt, 7 elimination games, and a 7th game of the World Series, and all that. He says he's going to make this. He tries to make a long story short. He had a video camera on every third base coach every single night in the championships. He spent hours logging tapes trying to steal signs from other teams and finding a way to beat you. And every team did it back to him. This is what Tim Flannery says. We have opened up a can. I don't even know if you want to call them worms. You can call them whatever you want. May not be worms, but it's really this is crazy. Yeah, Flannery was a great coach. Anybody hear this stuff? Okay. Good morning, Phil. All right. So here you go. The point is that Flannery is still talking, and here's what else he says. He says to me that with the video camera, he says he knew the Cubs did it. He knew the Diamondbacks did it. He knew the St. Louis Cardinals did it. He knew the New York teams did it. He knew not Johnny Valentine. He knew Bobby Valentine did it. Okay? And he caught them. He says you F them up by changing your signs. You tell the boys, if I put a hit and run on the first pitch, don't do anything. They will pitch out, and now they don't have the signs. He says, look, he said the game is tuned into no breaking up of double plays. Don't slide hard at home. Don't block the plate if you're not creative enough to derail them. As far as some of the greatest baseball writers who I love, read and listen to them, hang with them, and you're so off on the sign stuff. It's high-stakes poker game. It's big money, especially as coaches. If you get caught, if your signs are stolen, and if you don't know the moment they are close, they are on you, you're not thinking. And now because of that, commissioner comes out not understanding the writer's right stealing signs is wrong. We have an advanced scout who could watch your third base coach for 3 days and be real close to getting the signs. Now he would send his report. Now here's my take on this. You know what the rest of it says. The fact is that every team is doing it. I will take the position that I did it too. Even in Little League, I was known for stealing signs. And we always adjusted our signs when somebody said, my friend Joey knows our bunt sign. Okay? So we would change it. But it's different when you take cameras and video equipment and all that stuff and you place them. And I'll go back to a story that I may have told you before. Kenny Williams, the general manager of the Chicago White Sox. I'm going to read, when Kenny Williams first came up in the major leagues, in Bill Mazeroski's magazine, he wrote about Kenny Williams becoming the next Ricky Henderson. Kenny Williams' his first year in Major League Baseball, he hit .281, 21 home runs, 21 stolen bases, 11 home runs. 21 steals, 11 home runs, hit .281. We then found out from a member of the Chicago White Sox, a paid member of the Chicago White Sox, a member of the White Sox who knew everything that was going on. He told Irwin Zwilling and myself, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but he told them that Kenny Williams had somebody in center field flashing him the signals. Simple as that. Now, Kenny Williams, after that was found out, the White Sox made him stop. In 1988, he hit 159, 205, 161, 131, 194. As soon as they took it away, Kenny Williams was never the same ball player. At all. Not even close. And that's what happened to Kenny Williams. Now you think about Pete Rose talked about the punishments that were handed down. And look, Pete Rose, he bet on his own team to win. It's wrong, okay? And that's what he did. He was wrong. But he didn't taint the game. He didn't try to steal any games. There's no reports of him betting on the other team and trying to lose the game. He never voted against his team. He bet on his team every night because he had the confidence in his players and himself. It was wrong. Permanent suspension compared to a 1-year suspension for the managers and the general managers it's out of line. We have to rethink it, okay? Got to rethink it. And David Freese, he brought up a totally different aspect to the whole thing. David Freese, former third baseman, he wonders which is worse. And you tell me, chat room, is cheating itself like the Astros did and every team is doing, which is worse, cheating, stealing signs, or ratting on your ex-teammates in the media? Mike Fiers went public. Okay? Ken Rosenthal, Evan Drellich get praised for getting the story from Mike Fiers. Which is worse? Okay? Which is worse? Stealing the signals or ratting on your teammates? And Carlos Correa said, knowing Fiers, it was surprising because we were a team. We were all together. We had a bond. We won the World Series. But this is America. You can say what you want to say. And I got to tell you, you tell me, okay? Cheating by stealing signals, something that apparently everybody has done, or is it worse to be ratting on your teammates? I would like to know, and I think I know what the chat room is going to say, but I'm not going to put it out there, okay? So, good morning to guest Oliver. Good morning to Stephen Hart. That's right. Any opinions on the? I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. The FSGA draft. If anybody has something they want to say about it, good. I'm going to focus on this, and we'll talk about that tomorrow a little bit. Arnie is here. He'll be up next. Brooks is here. Good morning, Brooks. Greg, Dale, DK Lush. Nice to see you all. The Donkey, the Okie, the Georgetown, the George, the Roto Imbecile, the smartest guy in town, the Malpal, the Michael Etch in your kitchen table, the Phil. Kevin, Stephen, Unholy Toledo, and Zelmo, thank you all for being here. Okay? The Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Hart. That's right. So what do you think about all that? What do you think about David Freese's comment? Okay? Now, continuing on, we're going to get to some of the other stuff in just a minute. Also, I got to tell you, Steve Phillips, give Steve Phillips a lot of credit. Steve Phillips deserves a lot of credit. Steve Phillips talks about in an interview on the Chris Russo show on Tuesday, it was brought to his attention that Mets manager Bobby Valentine was trying to use video equipment to steal signs during a game against the Phillies. This is from Steve Phillips. Okay? So, and they got caught. Ed Wade, the general manager of the Phillies, said the camera at the plate between pitches keeps sort of turning to third base and coming back again. What is that? So Steve Phillips did his homework. He said that Bobby asked me to tape their third base coach to see if we can get his signs. Steve Phillips says that's a violation. That's a violation, and they didn't do it anymore. That was what was expected of. That's what was expected of the manager and the general manager. So that takes care of that. Now the Chris Bryant thing. Before we get to Chris Bryant, I'm going to say once again that I think that Carlos Beltran should be fired from the Mets as the manager. Only because during the Carlos Beltran interview, he flat out lied. Flat out lied. Absolutely lied during the interview. Beltran told the Mets he didn't do anything wrong. It was about, look, he didn't do anything wrong, right? He didn't do anything right either. I think Beltran is going to be a distraction. I think the Mets must stand up and take a stand. They have not commented on Beltran's status at all. So if the Red Sox could fire Alex Cora, the Mets have to fire Beltran. If for nothing else, he lied to them during the interview and said he didn't do anything, and then changed his mind and the only reason that they could get any information was to offer immunity. So let's not criticize that, okay? All about immunity. Whoa, unbelievable stuff here, okay? Unbelievable stuff. Now, Chris Bryant, the arbitrator for the Chris Bryant thing will decide Chris Bryant being 2 years away from free agency. So the Twins signing of Donaldson really didn't hurt the Cubs, because now the Cubs have the Braves, the Cardinals. I don't know if they'll go the Cardinals' way, but they've got the Braves and the Washington Nationals now chomping at the bit. Chomping at the bit. And the fact that they could get 2 years now really helps their cause. So by Donaldson electing to sign a 4-year, $92 million contract with the Twins, instead of returning to the Braves, the possibility remains open for the Cubs to re-engage the Braves in trade talks. And the Braves, who won the National League East, thanks in part to Donaldson's contributions, they currently have Austin Riley and Johan Camargo, and they will go with these two guys. So raise your value on Austin Riley and Johan Camargo. Now there's going to be some talk that the Braves are going to go after Nolan Arenado, but you know, the bull dinky and poppycock, and the Braves could be the only team that could really give Colorado exactly what they want. The only team. So, raise the value for Riley and Camargo, but here's the thing. They have also been linked to Chris Bryant. They have a very pitching deep farm system, and that would satisfy the Cubs in what they want long term. So they're just waiting for the official announcement. The Cubs have remained confident that they acted properly in sending Bryant to AAA to start the 2015 season. A favorable ruling would help them gain more trade value, as well as move his $18 million salary